Hi guys, today we'll be continuing our alternate future of the world series. And as you saw, something's major is going to happen. But before we get there, we should start with something that's going to start this video. Well, Mali decides they want an empire. Why would Mali decide they want to make an empire? Because they do. And well, while they're doing it, somebody decides they want Western Sahara. So they team up with them. Well, I guess you are seeing this. And well, they march in. And yeah. As they overwhelm the defenses. As they move into Morocco. And well, they overwhelm when Morocco moves into Western Sahara. And well, Mali and its empire is mostly bound at an empire, I'm calling it, but really they're bound to finding what they want. And so they draw a border. Why would they have to agree upon the border? Because, well, Morocco claims since they've invaded these lands, they should get it. But Mali disagrees. But they say they should get this. Kind of might turn into a border dispute, but then they agree upon it. It's brought back to becoming a part of Morocco. And well, there are some places that are proud of this. But Mali is becoming imperial. But in some places in the Central African Republic, I don't know how this will go. It may have most of it, but does that make it strong? Probably not. And well, Poland wants to continue into Russia, but their plan probably won't work so well. And well, this world, let's go to Mars. Okay, well, Mars looks pretty great, right guys? Well, Poland goes on a bit of a campaign of expansionism. Yep, they go expansionist as they move out of their borders and into new lands. And why aren't they moving so fast? Because, well, I would say it would take longer to explore a planet you've never been to. With China moving out and trying to find Poland, which they meet up here. So now direct communications are set up. With many countries not liking this expansion, which this includes the U.S. Shocker. As the U.S. adventures out because they think there's more resources. Eventually they set up a line here. And they move into here trying to create a buffer. And well, these aren't the only countries going on an expansion. The Mumbai Pact is what I think it's called. Fine, I'm calling it that so I remember it because I kind of forget. With India setting up a line of contact with the US. And the EAF moving down. But the EAF does not have such a great future. This is more so a distraction. Try and buy it more time, which doesn't. America, as you can see, almost doubled a space colony. Poland and China did the same in them. But a newcomer has just come to space. I think. No, they can't, really. They joined the US. But maybe Brazil can go? Did Brazil go yet? No, they did. And well, let's look at the moon. The moon is getting pretty much filled up. And the moon colonization is much further ahead, with more countries wanting to come. Duh. But that's besides the point. Mali decides to come, and Yugoslavia. As more nations are arriving on the moon, well, conflict breaks out. As well, China starts a war. Why would they do this? Because they could. With them saying that, well, they lawfully own the Earl Republic, which they don't. As they decide to go to war, with them saying, well, let's wait. What are they going to do? With China being ready for this, but are they ready for a long carried out war? Because the Earl has been preparing for this. On multiple fronts. Every front they have, they basically had enemies. Except Kazakhstan. China marching its forces in, even in the cold Arctic. Well, it's probably not cold anymore, global warming. This world has not been hit hard. And well, I would say, if China managed to do this, my alternate future makes basically no sense. But with China refusing to leave, the purple team is activated. But can the purple team win? Can they lose? This war is not going to end so well for anyone involved. I think this might be a carried out war, which would make sense. With Brazil getting involved, Egypt gets involved. With Russia kinda just doing what it wants to do, which is take back lands it lost, unfairly it claims. And well, this probably wasn't a wise idea on Russia's choice to launch an annexation war in the two regions that used to be a part of it. This is an annexation war, it's over two regions. As, well, they can't really invade all of the people they want because at this time, they're not exactly ready for conflict. But they kind of get their revenge enough on Kazakhstan as they keep marching in. With them managing to capture a huge swath of their territory, with this being seen as a huge victory for Russia. With them managing to annex it now. And well, this annexation probably isn't going to be reckoned in the red team's favor, except in one continent, but it might not be as bad as it looks. Because they managed to take this, which means they basically have the Sahara protected. Because now all they have is desert. With the Arabians taking this out, so the Central African Federation can't use it as a landing ground, nor can India. With their major pushback against Turkey happening. But I don't know how good this is because we don't know. Them moving into Azerbaijan southern territory. With Baku being taken. Yep. And they move all the way to Turkey's coast. With them making a huge encirclement. And well, yeah. They almost take most of the Iraq region. With China's offensive into India going well. Unfortunately, China's population is much smaller at this point than theirs. But them launching huge offensive operations into Central Asia. Their goal is to wipe out Central Asia in the Ural region, but this region has been preparing for war, as China can hardly make advances into what they're supposed to be superior to. With their collapse looking likely, as they are kind of getting embarrassed repetitively. With them getting completely kicked out of Kazakhstan and India. With it being only a matter of time till China could blow up into civil war. As a lot of people are unhappy with this new dictatorship. But it's not just here where there's problems in countries. And well, the first crisis comes when Korea declares invasion. Nations see this as a great opportunity to get out of this war. Which include Brazil, who don't want to collapse. Poland, the Polish Empire. And Indonesia. With a huge crisis developing. But some countries are going to deal with it by raising taxes. And how'd that go in the 17th century? Not well. With these new raise the taxes throughout some of the minority states being thought of as a good idea, well, in the short term, it's great. So they impose on, like, everyone. With Central Asia making an offensive into northern Iran. And, well, yeah. With Mongolia being on the verge of leaving, which they vote on and they vote in bad, China's last-ditch attempt to establish itself in the region happens, with Mongolia unable to resist it. But it's going to be short-lived, as Manchukuo decides it's had enough. Matter of days, the collapse of this front happens. Why only in a matter of days? Because, well, yeah, they couldn't get enough supplies in. And, well, then we have this event where a lot of people in this region start turning against their government, allowing it to basically be reintegrated in. Siberia is reintegrated in it. And, well, China looks like it's going to have a provisional government soon. As, I don't even know names, so let's just say, as an extreme point of view person gets in charge. Well, things start to change, as his overthrow led to a provisional government, which, in my opinion, probably won't last. Which brings this provisional government to the negotiating table, which I don't think this will look good for them. Back territories. The collapse of China is imminent, and I think it may even start before the end of this video, guys. And, well, yeah, with the fall of the Iranian front, Iran tries to negotiate its way out. But ultimately, as India starts flowing troops in, well, they are unable. And China's starting to have crises as their population's shrinking so fast all of a sudden. With Tehran being taken, which leads to the fall of Iran, which nobody wants to punish at all. With Iran saying we'll leave the war under the conditions, we don't lose any territory. Which, they don't take any territory, but they install a pro-India leader. So, I guess, you win some, you lose some. With the complete fall of all offensive actions, and, well, this quickly is followed by the exiting of Saudi Arabia from the war. Which doesn't really matter. At this point, the collapse of Saudi Arabia is also imminent. With Egypt at a point of refusal to surrender, there's only one way. And Turkey takes the Suez Canal and moves into the Sinai Peninsula, which they plan to give to Israel. And, well, Egypt surrenders. And, well, there's only one nation that'll lose territory. But I don't think the EAF is going to be able to hold up after this war. But let's sing the Suez Canal with the EAF expanding. And, well, India doesn't really do it much. Neither does Central Asia. But keep in mind that not doing much doesn't mean they did nothing. And keep in mind that now let's call her back in this pack. With some regions within the East African Federation feeling unhappy with these new taxing ways. To the point where, well, Siberia just is against it. And when they speak out against it, they get kicked out. To which they respond by joining Russia. Why are they joining Russia? Because Russia had one military victory. And what happens in Kazakhstan? Well, in the Central Asian Republic, a big coup d'etat happens, and this coup ends with the integration of Central Asia into Russia, although many people oppose this. And well, in China, how's the situation with this provisional government going, you may be wondering? Well, looks like this democratic country, which was a provisional government, is about to end, as Tibet ends up leaving. And followed by this is the Xinjiang's exit. And well, I'm not really liking these borders, as Mongolian regions declare independence. This leads to a civil war. Quickly after, in some regions, communists rise up. Others, really, democracy sparks interest to say. With what's about to happen now is the Chinese Civil War. Okay, it's still happening, civil wars. With a lot of monarchists who want to restore the Qing dynasty rise up. People who are in favor of a recreation of a Qing dynasty. With, well, I guess everybody guessed it. Reds rise up, and the blue is democracy. Well, fine, it's not actually a democracy, the blue. Isn't the democratic forces, no. The democratic forces are going to be the green team. Why are they green? With them moving into the island of Hainan, they are sparked mostly across the populous areas. As they move into Taiwan, they quickly seize the island. But what's going to happen now? It's hard to say. But I think this civil war will continue. With a Yunnan region, I think that's what it's called, declaring independence as the Yunnan Democratic Union. With the monarchists, the provisional government, and everybody at war, death is inevitable. Danger is inevitable. But Somalia, Eritrea, and, well, Angola, which were hit hard by these new taxing ways, declare independence, with it seeming inevitable that this will collapse. And even more, and quickly, they declare independence. Who else declared independence? Sudan. What could be worse? I don't think much worse could really happen. And then what's for Poland? Well, Russia is back to its strength again. And some countries want revenge, which includes Germany, Russia, and not really anyone else. And let's go to the Americas. Well, the US is having fun, getting strong. And then Brazil is just there, wanting to take over the continent, but probably can't, because, it's different. And then, well, China's in a state of a civil war, which we will continue these in the next episode. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Now let's talk about the channel. Well, our channel has, how many subscribers? 210. And you know what? We're close to 250. And how will we get to 250? By getting more subscribers. So if you could you please like and subscribe and comment? That's pretty much all for today's video. So could you subscribe? Subscribing would help this channel, as we have 4 days to get 40 more subscribers. I think we can do it. Do you think we can do it? Because I do. So please subscribe, like, comment, subscribe, like, comment. And that's pretty much all for today's video. Please like and subscribe. That's all for today's video. Wild Mapper out.